You remember sitting in class when the teacher handed out the trip form and you quietly folded it and put it in your bag because you already knew the answer at home. You remember standing in a store, pointing at something, not even something expensive, and hearing, "Put it back," not with anger, just exhaustion. You remember lying in bed at night, listening to your parents talk in the next room, not about dreams, not about goals, just how do we make it to the end of the month? That was your financial education, not a class, not a book, just those moments, quietly teaching you. This is how far people like us go. But you're here, watching this, which means some part of you never believed that. Stay with me, because by the end of this, you're going to understand exactly what separates someone who stays middle class from someone who becomes the first millionaire in their family. Let's start with the truth. You grew up in a home where money was complicated. There was enough to survive most months, but there was never enough to breathe, never enough to invest, never enough to even think long term. And that created a very specific kind of thinking inside you. Scarcity thinking. Not because you chose it, but because your brain absorbed the environment around it. You watched your parents fight over bills. You watched the paycheck disappear before the month ended. You saw money as something that runs out, not something that compounds. And here's where it gets psychological. Your brain built a financial ceiling. Not a real one, an invisible one. It decided, without asking you, this is as far as people like us go. That ceiling. It's not made of income. It's made of identity. And the first step to becoming a millionaire isn't a strategy. It's recognizing that the ceiling exists. There's a moment, and it's different for everyone. Maybe you're 22, sitting in a 9-to-5 that's paying your rent, but stealing your time. Maybe you're 27, watching a friend buy their second property while you're still figuring out your first savings account. Maybe you're 30, doing the math and realizing, if I keep going like this, nothing changes. That moment hits different when you come from a family that never talked about wealth, because you don't just feel behind, you feel alone, like you're trying to solve a puzzle nobody gave you the pieces for. Here's what I want you to understand. That feeling, it's not weakness, it's awareness. And awareness is the beginning of everything. The people who never become wealthy, they feel that same discomfort, and then they avoid it. They buy something. They distract themselves. They normalize the ceiling. But you started questioning it. That's the difference. Not talent, not luck, not connections. Just the willingness to ask, why does money work this way for some people and not others? That question changes everything. Now let's get specific. Because think like a millionaire is the kind of advice that sounds good and means nothing. Here's what the first millionaire in a family actually does differently. Step 1. You stop trading time for money as your only strategy. Your parents were rewarded for hours worked, not for value created. That's the employee model, and it has a hard ceiling. You start asking, where can I create value that doesn't require me to be present every hour? That's the beginning of the investor mindset. It doesn't mean you quit your job tomorrow. It means you start building something alongside it. Step 2, you learn the language of money. And I mean actually learn it. Compound interest, asset allocation, net worth versus income, cash flow versus savings. Your family never taught you this because they didn't know it. So you teach yourself, you read, you listen, you study, not obsessively, but consistently. Because here's what most people don't realize. Financial literacy isn't just knowledge, it's protection. Every year you don't understand how money works, someone else is benefiting from that ignorance. Credit card companies, subscription traps, lifestyle inflation, bad investment decisions. When you learn the language, you stop being the one who loses. Step 3, you redefine what enough means. This is the one that hurts, because when you come from a lower middle class background, your brain has been trained to feel relief at stability. I make $4,000 a month. That's fine. Fine is the enemy of great. Fine keeps you comfortable, but comfort is expensive in ways you can't see. Every year you stay at fine, the compound curve moves without you. The people who build wealth don't just earn differently. They tolerate discomfort differently. They delay the lifestyle upgrade. They reinvest instead of reward themselves. They live below their income on purpose, not forever, just long enough for the machine to build itself. Here's something nobody explains when they talk about wealth. It's not just about money. It's about time that was lost before you. Your grandparents didn't invest in the market. Your parents didn't buy appreciating assets. Nobody before you put money into something that grew while they slept, which means you're starting the clock from zero. No inheritance, no safety net, no generational head start. And yes, that's harder. But here's the flip side of that truth. You are the turning point. You are the reason your kids will start differently. You are the reason your family's financial story changes permanently. When you build $1 million, you don't just change your bank account. You change the conversation at the dinner table. You change what your children believe is possible for people like them. You break a pattern that has run in your bloodline for generations. That is not a small thing. That is legacy. Let me walk you through what this actually looks like. Year 1, you're learning. You're cutting waste. You're building your first emergency fund. You feel broke because you're saving aggressively. Nothing feels like it's working, but you keep going. Year 2, you start investing, small amounts, index funds, maybe a side income stream. Your net worth is low, but it's positive. That's new. Year 3, compounding starts to whisper. It's not loud yet, but you notice your investments earned more this month than you expected. You leave it alone. Year 4, 5, 6. Your income is growing because you've invested in your skills. You've said no to a lot of things, trips, upgrades, impulse buys. Your peers don't understand why. That's okay. Year 7, the compound curve starts to look different. Year 8, 9, 10. You're not checking the balance anxiously anymore. You're checking it with quiet confidence because you've started to see what your parents never got to see. Money working for you, not the other way around. And one day, and this day comes differently for everyone. You look at a number and realize, I'm the first one. First in your family. First in your bloodline. First to cross a line nobody before you ever crossed. Let's come back to the core. Because everything I just described, the saving, the investing, the compounding, that's the mechanics. The real battle is the one happening inside your head. The voice that says, who are you to want more? The guilt that creeps in when you start earning more than your parents did. The imposter syndrome that shows up in rooms where everyone seems more prepared. These are real. These are normal. And they are the exact reasons most people self-sabotage right before a breakthrough. You need to understand, wanting financial freedom is not greed. It is responsibility. You are not betraying your roots by building wealth. You are honoring them by doing what they couldn't. That reframe is everything. If you're watching this, you already think differently than most people in your circle. That's not an accident. Subscribe, because this channel is built for exactly the person you're becoming. Now, you understand the mindset. But mindset without a system is just motivation that fades. In the next video, I'm going to show you the exact money system, the 25-15-50-10 rule that turns your income into a wealth-building machine on autopilot. It doesn't matter how much you make right now. This system works at every level. Don't skip it, because this is where the thinking becomes the doing.